Hello, 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 and welcome, my Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your Path of True Love read for March 2020, or timeless, whenever you come across it is when you are supposed to see it. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of Join the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and Virgo sun. So how's this Mercury retrograde treating you? Full moon in Virgo. It'll go direct. We'll get through this together, right? I'm feeling you, my Mercury ruled brethren. So let's get a little clarity for shall we? For you, it's been like this for days, tripping over my own tongue, but it's okay. If you are new to the channel, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment as you see fit, because I'm really enjoying this change in my career, right? And thank you to my subscribers who got me over the 1,000 mark. I have a little thank you video down in the description box below if you want to go have a look-see-duck-see at some point. But let's get down to this reading, shall we? It is a general read. Please take what resonates, leave what does not. Check your other signs, because I can't nail all the time. Some people I notice I seem to hit consistently every single reading I do. But, you know, then they're the ones that are guided at that time. So please do check your other signs. You'll know whether something resonates intuitively or not, right? So that's the standard rule. Everybody says it on YouTube. If they're doing general reads, how could you do anything else, right? Otherwise, you're taking a client. But that being said, this is a Path of True Love read, so I always feel like I need to clarify this a tad, particularly during Mercury retrograde. The Path of True Love is your spiritual path, your healing path, your warrior's path, your artist's way, your healing journey, however you want to see it, but through the lens of your relationships. So even though other people may be indicated here, soulmate, twin flame, mother, father, sister, brother, lover, other, you know, however that plays itself out, friend, whatever relationships you're in, they are all participants. They are all parts of, truly helpful parts of your highly individualized curriculum on the Path of True Love, which is helping you to what? Become true love. Like when they asked Michelangelo, the artist, not the Ninja Turtle, how he created the David. He said, I did not create the David, God did. I just removed the excess marble. That's what relationships do. But what is it revealing underneath? The true love that you are, the unconditional love, the divine being, the embodiment of the soul, right? I mean, chipping away the marble's a little harsh, right? Hammer and chisel. But, you know, every relationship is here to help us heal, learn, grow, become the best that we can be. It's just we don't always see it that way. So once we do, it's nice to have a little GPS overview, right, to see a little bit where we are on the path. And that's why I'm using the Celtic Cross spread. I have video in the link descriptions below, the description box below, how I read the Celtic Cross, because everybody does it differently. And this time around is even differently for me. My guides always up it a little bit, change it, tweak it a little bit. This time they tweaked it a lot. So if you will focus on your breath as I will focus on my breath, we'll all be in the present moment. My cats are running wild around the house today, so if I have to pause, I have to pause. You know, I've got a video editor, so I can, you know, cut away and cut back, so to speak. But then we'll all be tuning to the same guidance and grace at the core, in the silent, still point of the heart, in between the inhales and the exhales. You ready? Let's do this. My Geminis, my air signs, particularly mutable air, take a few deep breaths, because we're going to start with one Caroline Myss archetype card. All the decks that I read are at the bottom of the description box. Please go have a look. And I've got other cool stuff in my box as well. Daddy's got a squeeze box. Such a great song. I miss listening to The Who. I really should pick that habit back up again. That being said, let's dive in. I will call out all the other decks as I use them. Here we go. Breathe. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the garbage man is here. Oh, every day it's a different time. I shall be right back. It wasn't even the garbage truck. It was somebody backing up. Ugh, Mercury retrograde. All right, one more time, shall we? It was just one of those days, just one of those crazy days. My collective pantheons, please. One Caroline Mace archetype card. My angels, my gods, my goddesses, my masters, the higher selves of all involved, please. One card for this Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign on the path of true love. What is their dominant archetype? The dominant archetype they're dealing with in a person or within a situation on the path of true love for March, 2020, or timeless, whenever they're supposed to see it. The whole point of getting frustrated when interruptions happen, this is what I have learned, I'm not saying this is for everybody, is to breathe, right? Hermes, Mercury, god of air, right? So it's the only way I can get you the guidance and the grace in this reading is if I relax, right? Oh, and we're glad for the wait. I love this archetype. I have this archetype. So before I tell you what it is, every archetype has its light and shadow. The shadow is supposed to be toxic. That's what's written on the card so that you can identify it in yourself or someone else, understanding that the whole point of the shadow is to bring it into light, the lead to gold, the toxicity to healing, the however you want to play that out. The bad to the good, right? The lesson, the grain of sand in the belly of the oyster that makes the pearl of wisdom. Y'all have got the Prince archetype, which I love the Prince archetype, just like I love Prince. I always will. God bless and rest his soul. The shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement. So someone who has the Prince archetype, I do have the Prince archetype, and certainly when I was younger, more immature, obviously, I used the power that I did have to make myself larger than life. Why? Because I had insecurities, and I don't know anybody who don't, but using your power, your financial power, your social power, whatever power you have, self-aggrandizement, to aggrandize something. Look it up, it's a good word. Lots of syllables in that one. Very verbal, very easy to trip over. To be larger, grander, grandiose, rather than allowing your natural grandeur of the soul to show through. It is a soul power, the prince. Keep in mind, a prince was often a ruler of a principality. So while we think of it as the son of a king and queen, which is usually true, right, still is true, someone who has a principality, right? So it's a specific portioning of land within a kingdom. So with their principalities within a kingdom, within an empire, right? Prince, king, emperor. Right. The light side of this I love so much. Romantic charm and potential for power. See, I have this great intuitive skill with men in particular to sense their potential power, but not always their capacity or their willingness to develop it, to display it, to mature into it. So romantic charm, and that's the thing. I am fucking Prince Charming. Unfortunately, it mostly works on women, and I'm gay. Great for my career, not so great for my love life, right? It's so weird that way, but it does make sense. If I said to somebody the other night in a conversation, can you imagine if I was heterosexual with this Prince archetype? I would have been shot by some husband, right? Dead some one way or another. So you can see the potential power there within the Prince archetype, both for light and for shadow. So there is leadership, there is rulership there, but there's also a very strong, right, the first word in the light, the light aspect, romantic charm. So there's a romantic touch here in you already, and though it is a masculine family of archetypes, it doesn't matter if you're biologically male, female, whatever you identify yourself as, because that is about a soul power, just like I have the mother archetype stronger than the father archetype, even though I am in a male body in this incarnation. The soul is without gender. So what we're going to do is help even clarify that with a Chuck Spezzano Love Pack card. There are 4 suits in here. The Problem, which is half the deck, the Luck, the Piece of Luck, the Healing, and the Grace. So let's see which one you get from the voices of the Ascended Masters of True Love. And by the way, they do specialize. They're like little clubs, little caucuses within the... That's what they told me. We'll see when we croak, I suppose, unless they start manifesting into physical form. As I call it, being Renarded, if you know what that means. Gary Renarded. Oh, let's watch the universe disappear. My masters, please. I'm glad I'm making you laugh. Please, one card in clarity for this Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign on the path of true love, because we could all use a little break, a little laugh with this retrograde. Please, what's going on for them? One card in clarity for the Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign on the path of true love, March 2020. Or timeless, please. A piece of luck, a piece of grace, a piece of healing, or a piece of the problem. What's this Prince archetype dealing with? Neediness. Now, like I said, this Prince archetype may be you, but maybe someone you're involved with, maybe an overall situation that has a potential for power and romantic charm. But it can be all three, right? Absolutely. An archetype can manifest in you, in a person, and in an entire situation. In fact, I bet it happens more than we realize. So dealing with this neediness, is this your neediness? Is it someone else's neediness? Is it a situation where neediness seems to prevail symbolically, archetypally? Well, I will tell you that neediness is the problem that the solution is giving to yourself that which you think another cannot give you. That's just how it works, because neediness is an attachment to externals in this way. It's what's called a false idol, right? We take the things that we really want on the inside and we project them outward. So I'll be happy when I get this. And if it comes and then goes, it drops us into a place of deficit. And that is happening for us to redirect us back to the source within ourselves. Now, this doesn't mean we're all going to be hermits and monks and nuns and celibates. No. Because once you've established that within yourself and found through spiritual practice, through healing, through wherever the path takes you, the ability to tap into that more regularly. That's why I do it as a daily, if not hourly practice through my breath, to ring the silent bell of my heart. It's sort of like whatever's on the other side of that bell, they know why I'm there. They're going to flow it through me or not, depending on what I need in that moment. That's the divine for you. So that's how I work my way out of neediness, as well as allowing myself to feel the neediness through my breath. Feel it, cry it, scream it, so that it alchemizes, it gives it a voice, but I don't text, right? I don't take any action. Think of needy as the abandoned, neglected child of the heart, the inner child of the heart that was not given what it needs, so it believes, and so is starving and claw, hook, right? Which keeps you trapped in situations until you heal. And you know what? We all have to do our time in those. Now, that just made it sound like a jail sentence, and in a way it is. But if we don't go through neediness, we never really discover that all that we need is within. I know, stitch it on a pillow, Grandma, throw it on the couch, make a t-shirt, a hat, and a bumper sticker while you're at it. Because it's cliche as fuck, but because it's true. But often we have to be broken down before we'll go there. So if there's any of that going on, remember you're tapping what? A potential for power here. Absolutely lovely. Let's start now with our Celtic Cross. Now we're going to do 2 decks at once. So 10 positions, 20 cards with... You've already seen 2 of the clarifiers. We'll have 2 more clarifiers at the end, giving you 24 cards in total. We're going to lay down the Daughters of the Moon Tarot, the voices of the gods and goddesses, and then we're going to cover it with the Healing with the Angels Oracle. We're going to bless them both, and then we're going to pull one from each. We're going to pull it 2 at the same time for each position. So it's a little, I like the twist of that. Breathe. Oh, my gods, my goddesses, hi, my gods and goddesses of true love, please, top 10 cards, Celtic Cross spread for this Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign on the path of true love for March 2020, or timeless, whenever they're supposed to see it. Yeah, I feel the spacey coming on, Hermes, I feel you, I hear you. Please, top 10 cards, Celtic Cross, thank you very much. Maiden, Mother, Crone. Relatively quick shuffle, and a clean cut, which I like. No hangers on. Now I'm just going to do this other deck now, so that, like I said, I can pull them both at the same time. Another deep breath, please. my angels. Please, top 10 cards, Celtic Cross for this Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love. Please, please, please. Where are they on the path of true love? What do they need on the path of true love? Show us what's going on for the Gemini collective on the path of true love, March 2020, or timeless. My angels, please. Powers, thrones, dominions. We just started doing that because they were like, Maiden Mother Crone, we're angels. I'm like, all right. So I remembered what some of the 9 choirs of angels were: and thrones, powers, and dominions. There are virtues, there are angels, there are archangels, there are all sorts of clubs you can join in the angelic community. Ready? Let's do your Celtic Cross. Position number 1, the cover. What covers the person I'm reading for, in this case, you. By the way, I have a link in the box below explaining how I lay out the Celtic Cross, because once the first 2 positions are down, it gets a little squirrely from reader to reader. So I explain the positions and why I read that way, blah, blah, blah. Go look. So you've got Aquarius emerging. Now, it's the Aquarius card, the Crone of Blades, right? So we're looking here at fixed air. So this would be the Queen of Swords in a regular deck. This is the Daughters of the Moon Tarot, a feminist deck, which I adore. Ixchel, the Eagle Woman, which really speaks very much to the Aquarian energy. Now, when a court card comes up in a Celtic Cross position, it's never about another person. Never usually, right? That means it's a maybe, right? It can be really if there's somebody so Aquarian dominant in your energy field that you're like one person maybe, or they're so on your mind, or they're so in what's going on with you that you're sort of identified with them in some way. But really, if we can look first at the 11th house, right? Look at Aquarian energy. It is ruled by Uranus, so it's outside of the box. Hence, the Eagle Woman, who flies highest, sees the larger picture, but she's carrying scissors, right? To snip away, to incise and desize, to decide what needs to go, what needs to be let go, what needs to be kept. Higher point of view is great, bigger picture, but of course missing detail. So Aquarians are known for being egalitarian. Look up that word. That's a lovely word. Humanitarian, friendly, right? They're like the friends of the zodiac because they prefer an intellectual mental distance from things in order to see the larger picture. That's what makes them geniuses. The internet is a perfect example of an Aquarian invention, right? Something that brings us all together, but yes, keeps us all separated. It's really, look through the eyes of the zodiac, you see stuff everywhere. It's so funny that way. So if this is, if you have a planet in Aquarius or some kind of astrological connection, look at what's going on there. What is the planet that's influencing that? Because it is emerging. Now, keep in mind, Mercury is going direct on this full moon, if you're watching this in March. So there's going to be some more of that Aquarian energy, perhaps something rebellious, known to be the rebel. Breakthrough, genius, inspirational, like I said, humanitarian, wanting to serve, but often serving through intellectual prowess, genius, that kind of thing. So really good for an air sign, my Geminis. I mean, whether you have any planets in Aquarius or not, I think doesn't ultimately matter. But there is perhaps some clarity as a result of pulling back and seeing the larger picture emerging from within you. Can be transcendental, right? A transcendental meditative experience. So if that's you, what's the situation that you're in? The cross, the environment, what's helping or healing this? The Lover's card. Now, cool down for a second. The Lover's card does not always mean the lovers, right? Like 2 people that are going to get it on and fall in love. It's about a life-changing decision. Think about it. When you fall in love with somebody, it's a life-changing decision. It is, because you fall, right? You literally surrender your control of certain choices and aspects in your life, either to the biology of it, the physiology of it, the chemistry of it, the divine path of it, the twin flame, the soulmate of it. It's crazy, right? Does it lead to a commitment or not? I don't know, but I'm making the decision. But can I align my head, which is the feminine in this, the head, which is the masculine in this picture, and the heart, the feminine, to, can I get the mind and the heart, the sacred divine masculine and the sacred divine feminine to align so that the divine child, the innocence of my will, can choose or make a decision wisely, right? And that's about manifestation, with the angels of manifestation. So something's emerging within you because there's a big decision manifesting. So this could even be seen then as a bit of clairvoyance or intuition of the third eye, which may not always manifest itself. Sometimes it can be clairsentience, just suddenly you know something. So look up the clairs. There's clairaudient, clairvoyant. I'm a clairvoyant empath with a strong lead into clairaudience, because it's all up here, but then down here is where I'm getting my empathic stuff. So intuition ain't all up in the head. It's throughout the whole nervous system, really. So if some of that is emerging for you, my air signs, my Geminis, then know that this manifesting decision, or this decision to manifest, not manifest, or kind of feels more like with this emerging, suddenly this decision manifests almost out of nowhere, where you have to really make wise, lovingly powerful choices. Got that right? Daddy, mommy, baby. Wise, lovingly powerful. Powerful, loving, wise. That's the threefold flame. Love, wisdom, and power. So let's see what's going on at the core, the third position. Sort of what's going on in the soul and the subconscious and the unconscious. Stuff you may know about but can't see all of. Well, and here we've got the Two of Cups and signs. So look, we've got the Lovers and the Two of Cups. Any other reader would say, this is romantic. Well, I'm going to say this is now moved into the 75 percentile probability of being romantic, because these two cards are so linked together in the collective unconscious. But I see the Two of Cups, particularly in this deck, the Whirlpool, more as emotional attraction. With the card of signs from the angels, we're really looking at pay attention intuitively to the signs that you are getting. Remember, you're seeing the larger picture through all of this. And it feels like there is an emotional attraction there, but that you're getting some synchronicities too. Don't take them all as gospel law, but do take them like, that's interesting, like you can still, because it does feel like the emotions are churning on the inside in terms of the outside, how you're behaving and making your decisions. It's okay to get real clarity in the air, the mind, as well as in the water of the heart before making this decision. That's the wise way to do it. Not necessarily gathering data and information and evidence about the person, although it's better to know beforehand than after, I find. Sometimes we're just not supposed to that way. But that at least you can then move forward with some of these signs that are prompting you perhaps intuitively. To say that you could explain to somebody else what it means, but it wouldn't click to them the same way it would for you internally, if not completely emotionally. By the way, the whirlpool with this Two of Cups, it's two cups in a whirlpool, as far away from each other as possible, but nature, the path, whatever you want to call it, is bringing them closer and closer and closer to me. Lovely card, love it. Let's look at your behind, so to speak. Symbolically, your fourth position. What's behind you on the path of true love? Well, we've got the volcano with abundance. So that's an interesting combo right there. The Five of Flames, Pele. An explosion, an eruption, right? Something, element of fire that was kind of kept down, bubbling, doing that underneath. Yes, I used to be a dancer. Yeah, I still am. That bubbling underneath the surface, building up in pressure and heat, and then boom. So that can be creativity, that can be sexuality, that can be anger, which is really passion blocked, right? Power blocked. And that is a volcano, right? It does build up and build up and build up, and someday blows its top. I think that's where we got the idea, blows its top from. Looked like a mountain 1 minute, and then it blew its top, right? It exploded. It was a volcano. Keep in mind the fallout, though, from a volcano, literally, volcanic ash is incredibly rich fertilizer because it's mineral dense, right? It's all that stuff that's not usually in the topsoil. So it comes up. That's why, like, the Pacific Islands, right? The volcanic islands, they have, like, the most delicious fruits, and everything is green and verdant. And of course, you know, you've got the elements of temperature and all of that making it perfect, but there's that extra fertilization. So often after a five of anything, people don't like the fives in the minor arcana, but they're change. People don't like change, but usually after that, there's some sort of opportunity to then cultivate that, right? The six, bringing it into balance. So with abundance, that's what I'm feeling. It's like, yeah, there might have been an abundance of fire, an abundance of ash, an abundance of smoke, an abundance of passion that needed to be vented, and my sense of it was, right? And now here comes that clarity of mind emerging, but along with that, a decision, like has now perhaps some of that ash and smoke is settling, and the decision is really starting to manifest before you. I have a feeling it might have been there all along, but it just came center stage that way, and it's kind of getting that whirlpool. It's like a sign triggering inside of you, that Two of Cups whirlpool dealio. All right? Okie dokie. Let's see now your fifth position. What's crowning? Not quite come into being yet. Sort of like the immediate future, the next step, but not so much as to say, now here's something completely connected but different. It's connected to this present moment, a bridge between the past and the future. Oh, I just heard love and anger in my head from Kate Bush. So what's in your crown? Ah-ha-ha. The trickster. Now, by the way, Hermes is a trickster god. Hermes, Mercury, Gemini, but with support. Support from the gods, the guides, the masters, the angels, all of that. So I'm going to say that what's crowning for you now, considering this is a major arcana card, right? It is half of the devil card. The other half in this deck is the card of oppression. So this is that trickster. It is often how the divine uses our fears to trick us into things so that we will learn, right? I mean, the ultimate coyote archetype is Wile E. Coyote, right? You think you would learn. But it is that part of us that we sabotage ourselves or others when there is a major decision. Look up the saboteur archetype. Everybody has the saboteur archetype. It's one of the four survival families of archetype. And there is one of these in this card. It would have been wild if that was it right there. The saboteur is in there. Child, victim, saboteur, prostitute, everybody has those, even nations have those. So we're looking at something here where there's support for you empowering yourself, that there may be a divine trick being played, so these signs may be leading you, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy, you know what I'm talking about, right? James Woods. So be careful. Yes, there may be a trick here, but it feels like it's one supported by the divine, that they have to kind of like trick you into the next step or the revelation or this decision that you're going to make. But let's keep in mind, that's Mercury retrograde. So there really is an indication here for you to kind of, I get now a bit more of that Aquarian emerging vibe. That rising from you might be this more dry, intellectual, yeah, you know, you want to make the decision balanced with the heart, obviously, but wise, right? Like that wise eagle that flies highest and sees furthest, right? That higher eagle-eye view may be emerging from you, but more through an intuitive place than an intellectual, right? We don't think of thoughts emerging quite as much as we do that idea of an intuition or an impulse emerging, you know, after this volcano. It does make sense, symbolically speaking, but that there's an aspect where at least part of this decision is about, do I empower or disempower myself? Do I empower or disempower another? Do I empower or disempower this prince archetype, even if it's a situation, because there is great potential, right? It says right in there, potential for power with romantic charm. You know, are we going to come from fear, or are we going to come from love? Are we going to go for the golden ring, or are we going to settle for the brass in pocket? Chrissy Hine, The Pretenders. Now I'll have that stuck in my head, which is a good thing. All right, we're almost done with the cross, and then we'll do the staff. What's position number 6? What is before you on the path? Well, here we go. Now we know this is romantic, at least. We've got the Ten of Blades, the rattle with romance. So all the pieces of the puzzle are going to come and hit the table for you. Resolution, ten of Blades, Ten of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck is a little grisly, but Goddess bless Pamela Coleman Smith, the original artist, right? Because it does say, well, it's over. But this isn't saying the romance is over. This is saying that all the pieces of the puzzle, at least intellectually, there is... I wouldn't say there's a big predominance of air here, only 2 air cards, 2 major arcana cards too, but that at least you see what the larger picture. The completion of the seed of thought is the revelation or the resolution. Like with many pieces of the puzzle on the table, you can't see what the picture is, even if all of the pieces are present. It's not until you pull back and start, putting together the edges, right? And then putting all the blues together for the sky, because there's a lot of sky, right? So it's going to come clear to you. And that you have, of course, the romance card with the prince with that romantic charm. In the light side, keep that in mind. It feels like your path of true love is going to be a little bit more intellectually stimulating for this period of March Timeless. But yet here, the signs are triggering you emotionally. So what you are seeing, remember, retrograde, you're allowed to go slow. Even after Mercury goes direct, it's still in its shadow for a while. No need to jump into anything great, big, huge. But then again, I'm a Virgo earth sign, but also ruled by Mercury, so had to learn that one the hard way. That's your microcosm, little world. Now we look at the big one, the more universal picture. Like position number 7, the lesson. What are the gods trying to teach you? What are you learning from all of this? The Scorpio card with forgiveness. Is there a particular Scorpio that is a big forgiveness lesson for you? I can think of several off the top of my head, just for me. That's not true. I love my Scorpios. It's really true. But here's the thing. I am a student and teacher of Course in Miracles, which is all about forgiveness, but quantum-based forgiveness, not Newtonian-based. There's a big difference. Because when there's only one energetic field, one quantum field, only one of us here, then it's all about healing the self through forgiveness, that everybody's doing the best that they can with their level of consciousness, what they're aware of. But forgiveness is the miracle of alchemy, from lead to gold, from shadow to light. So a couple of ways we can cut up this Scorpio card. One is it's an actual person, a teacher of forgiveness. Doesn't that sound pretty? Oh, I'm a forgiveness teacher, like they're going to teach you how to forgive. Well, forgiveness teachers teach you how to forgive, often through betrayal, right? Pick a deadly sin. Pick all of them, right? By the way, I know the deadly sins by heart. Ready? They're the chakras. The root chakra, hubris, toxic pride, racism. Second chakra, greed, hungry, right? Entitlement, luxury. Oh, I'm better. I deserve. Bleh. It makes me sick to my stomach. Heart chakra, wrath. Boom, possibly, right? Doesn't mean it had to come out that way in that particular card for everybody, right? Gluttony, more please. Same choice over and over, third chakra choice. Envy, well, how dare they? Fuck them, when is it my turn, right? And crown chakra, my favorite deadly sin. Sloth. Sloth is my favorite deadly sin because you don't have to do much. It's not about being lazy. It's sloth, for instance, when you know you have to forgive, but you don't. Life moves at the speed of forgiveness, slows shit down. So if this is not an actual Scorpio, sun, moon, rising, whatever, then look at 8th house energy. Money, sex, power, all other people's resources that you have to have a power relationship with in order to have an equal, fair exchange. We usually need to forgive when there is an unequal, unethical, or dishonorable exchange of money, sex, power, one way or another. Whether we are doing it, where they're doing it. So Scorpio is second chakra, man. It is the genitals. So second chakra is money, is creativity, is sexuality, not just the act of sex, but sexual energy, right? The kundalini, all that stuff. So huge forgiveness opportunity here, but understand that's alchemy. That sort of energy can't pass through lead, because lead is an insulator. We're talking symbolic here. But gold is a conductor. So with the Prince archetype, is it you need to forgive? Is it someone else you need to forgive? Is it a situation you need to forgive? Is it a family you need to forgive? Well, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter where you jump into that, but ask for help of the divine. If that's why they're lessons. Like I say to people, you know, if you didn't, whoa, they just give you keys the first day so you could drive? No, you had to take lessons, right? You had to learn how to do it. You had to pass the frickin' test, right? Every relationship on the path of true love may very well be about forgiveness in one way, shape, or form, but ultimately it is the miracle. I call it the philosopher's stone in the aspect through the lens of symbolic spiritual alchemy, because it always works. It just doesn't always work the way we expect it to, and always ask for help of the divine and forgiveness. Never try and do it yourself, because if you're trying to do it yourself, you're doing it with the ego and the personality alone. It's a divine thing. It's a soul movement. And ultimately know that the divine doesn't have to forgive, because the divine doesn't condemn in the first place. That's why I'm a Course in Miracles student and teacher, because it's the truth. The gods aren't angry at us. We're their kids. They sent us down to play in the game. No, we just don't remember why we were sent. But it's love. Path of true love. Let's look from the outside looking in, right? With all of this going on, how do we appear to others on the outside? It's not that eagle-eye view, right? Seeing from this way. It's how the world sees you. And often we're not aware of how we appear in certain situations. The Sagittarius card with listening. Now, what I find interesting is Sagittarius is your opposite sign, right? Air and fire are always across from each other on the zodiacal wheel, as are water and earth. Complementary opposites. In other words, you need air to have fire, but you don't need fire to have air. Just saying. So, being that it is your opposite sign, you might be coming off a little bit more, I won't say impulsive, because Geminis and Sagittarians have that in common, but very intent and yet changeable about your desire. The only other fire card I see here is this volcano, which you have to say is directed, right, Sagittarius, like a bow and arrow, but straight up, and then goes in every different direction. It's a really good metaphor, by the way, for mutable fire. Yes, it starts in a general direction, yang energy, masculine energy, fire energy, but then sort of like spreads out, very mutable, very changeable. So with that card of listening, know that people are hearing what you're saying, maybe on a deeper level than you realize. But also, are you listening to what's going on inside of you? Are you listening to that Two of Cups, to those signs that are being presented? Because it does feel like that's part of all these puzzle pieces hitting the table. Once you get the intuitive hunch connection, you see the pattern. Look, seeing patterns is what I've been doing since I started reading tarot at age 12. I'm going to be 52 this year. So I see patterns everywhere, but that doesn't always mean I'm seeing truth, right? I'm just seeing a pattern. So to really listen to your gut on this, as intuitive hits come, put it on the table. Here's an intuitive piece of the puzzle. Here's a song on the radio that I heard 18 times. That happened to me once. Oh, I had to let go of the person eventually anyway, but I swear one day I heard Don't Stop Believin' by Journey on the radio like 18 times, and I was even like hitting the button and it was still would like play at different parts of the song. So I had to stop believing. I couldn't take it anymore. Gemini moon person, actually, a guy. Of course. But, you know, that's the lesson. It's like I learned, and I believed up until a certain point until I saw the toxicity that was going on. All the pieces of the puzzle hit the table. Mine was out. It was a life-changing decision. Now, I don't have any planets in Gemini. This reading isn't about me, but I can see that being a way of playing out. So really know that if there is a trick being played here, it's for your betterment. You can be as angry at the pantheons of angels, gods, goddesses, masters, higher selves as you want for being tricked. No one's, well, a lot of people say we have to love the divine plan. I do love the divine plan in broad strokes, but I don't have to like what's going down. In fact, the more authentic I am and forgive myself about how I feel, my deep hidden money, sex, power, emotions, all of that stuff, Hecate, goddess of the crossroads, queen of witches, right? Goddess of witches. Then there's some forgiveness here that might make us really need to listen more to the soul within us about what the soul... See, the personality has desires, usually for comfort and to get what it wants. The soul has needs. And this emotional attraction here with signs, that feels more like a soul need. At least you need to kind of follow through on it as a hunter would, not knowing exactly what's around the next tree, but they know they have an intention, a desire to gather something, right? Hunter, gatherer. Go get it. Your destiny. Possession? That was a Freudian slip. Maybe that was a Jungian slip. The position of your destiny, where you are on the hero's journey of alchemizing your fate, that which you cannot change, to destiny, right? The highest manifestation, helping you grow and become who you came to be in this life. All right, we've got 8 of Cups, withdrawal with healing. Your destiny right now comes from pulling back emotionally so that you can go deeper into the cave to connect more with this basic swirling 2 of Cups attraction, to connect with the intuitive signs that are coming to you. Now, what I love about the the 8 of Cups in this deck is it's not walking away from, it's walking into something, usually the self, right, going into the cave. And by the way, I love it when these two show up in the same reading, right? The 8 of Cups could very well be walking into, I don't know if you can see it that way. See the cave she's walking into with the cups leading in, some are knocked over, some are standing up. Well, what if that cave is leading down into Hecate's lair, right, where the lessons are? And of course, there is no healing. There is no healing without forgiveness. That's something you see in hindsight. You can't make that happen. It's like fetch. Stop trying to make it happen. Stop trying to make healing happen. Stop trying to forgive and just say, all right, I'm willing, but I need to, in this case, pull back to show willingness, not just to think willingness, to actually choose it. Are you listening to your better angels, your guides, your grace that are coming to you? Well, withdraw for your own healing. Take a break. Pull back. That's not saying your ultimate destiny is that. That's saying where you are on the hero's journey to manifesting your destiny, which is pretty good. We all need a break. We all need to heal. And okay, just to clarify, because I just heard, well, part of it's self-healing, but part of it is also reaching out and asking for help when you need it. That's hard, right? But good for a Gemini. So one twin's going to do the self-healing, the other twin's going to ask for help. What a healing team. 10th position outcome. I love this. And you're going to love this. Temperance with freedom. It's so cool. By the way, the Sagittarian energy is very much about freedom too. So you listen to your guidance and grace, you are going to be freed, but through discipline, right? Through balance. I like the Temperance card. I guess it's a little Virgo-ish in the sense that we can cross our legs and wait for something good to come along. Until something's right. It's like, I really do not try to eat the soup before it's cooked, right? It's like, let's wait until it's done. I'm much better at that. But why? It took me discipline of eating partially uncooked soup. It depends on what kind of soup, right? It's sort of like that. Do you want hot batter or do you want cake, right? Oh, like cooking chicken and the outside's done, but the inside you get that gross uncooked blah, right? That'll teach you patience. So there's patience and discipline, but balancing your water and your fire. I love that in this deck. Your water, your emotions, and fire, your desires, your will, your choices, your decisions. So there is a freedom that comes to you as a result of temperance, of being strong enough to handle the freedom. And that does make sense for this spread, particularly if you can take the forgiveness lesson. You will break a chain. You will break a chain around your heart, around your soul. So, and what is that chain? It's a chain of pain. It's a chain of fear. It's a chain of suffering. It's a chain of perhaps unprocessed pain, suffering, grief, and guilt within not just the subconscious, but within the biochemistry of your cells, because emotions have biochemical components. Just saying. Okay, we've got 2 more cards left. Really fascinating spread. But we're going to do 2 more clarifiers, a Whisper of Love Oracle card for the voices of the higher self, and a Kahn healing mantra deck card to give you a mantra to get you through this, because this feels like, yeah, this could be a little rough. But the pieces of the romantic puzzle are going to hit the table for good or ill, but it's better to know, because what are the chances that there's some shit that you do not know about with that trickster card? Again, it could all be one of those great tricks, like when somebody, oh, let's not do that. I almost put them the wrong direction. Virgo Twitch. Like somebody tricks you into going into your own surprise party. I fucking hate that shit. But, the intention, is different. Intention is everything, sometimes. Higher selves, ready? Voices? No. Voices of the higher selves. Breathe. Lovely. The higher selves of all involved, please. 1 card for this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for March 2020 are timeless, please. Everything that's going on here in this reading, please. What is the whisper of love for this Gemini collective directly from their higher selves through them to me? Well, sort of directly to you. Appreciate this moment, each and every situation as an opportunity to grow and find love. I'm telling you, the forgiveness lesson alone with Scorpio, this is deep. This is going to not just help heal you, it's going to help heal the subconscious minds of billions of people. That there's something worth appreciating here. Now keep in mind, you can appreciate a meal while you are eating it. You will enjoy the meal more. You can appreciate somebody's right to have an opinion, yet not agree with the opinion, right? So appreciation really is a skill that can be developed, right? Now, the thing about Geminis, I've dated all of you apparently, is that there are 2 of you in there, one who appreciates and one who doesn't. Now, I'm not saying ignore the one who doesn't and only feed the twin that does, but to let that other one have its voice, because it is something that has been left untended, perhaps, a wound, a pain, a piece of emotional baggage, or a pattern that needs more love, not less. So you can even appreciate those negative voices, those ones, like what is the opposite of appreciate? Well, depreciate, right? Depreciating humor, for example, is sort of a gigantic red flag in a relationship, because usually they feel that way about themselves, right? So if they're just making fun and ripping everybody else down around them, that's usually a projection of pain. So even that you can appreciate as what? A clue, a piece of the puzzle on the table. So that's really powerful. And of course, when we appreciate this moment, we're not rushing into the past or the future, so we can just breathe here and get how much of the story that goes on in the mind without even our voluntary participation. Eckhart Tolle said, go ahead, try and stop the next thought from coming into your mind. You can't, right? It's like we're not in control of that. We can do mantras, we can breathe, we can meditate, but the best that I find we can do is just be here now, which ain't new, right? It's like that's just Taoist, Buddhist, Tantric, more Eastern than Western, because the Westerners get it done yesterday, right? Whatever it is you're going to do it yesterday, but don't be here now. Don't just stand there, do something, where the other is don't just do something, stand there, right? Appreciate this moment. Every situation has an opportunity to grow and find love. And that's the path of true love right there. So if you're always on the path of true love, then every moment there is an opportunity to find love, and maybe that is love of the self. Remember, you got this Lover's card, second position. With manifestation, there is a decision. What if you made the decision that no matter what happens, I'm going to decide to love, I'm going to decide to forgive, I'm going to decide to do my best. It's going to change my life one way or the other, but no matter how this fucker plays out, I'm going to forgive. That's badass. That is so spiritual badass that you need a healing mantra card to help you with it. Let's ask. My Ascended Masters of True Love, You who gave us the card of neediness. Now, let's not forget, there may be an underlying current of neediness here, either in you, in the other person, or in the situation altogether with that Prince archetype, right? So, since the Ascended Masters of True Love chose the neediness card, let's see what they give in terms of a healing mantra. Nice deep breath. My Ascended Masters of True Love, please, one card. The perfect healing mantra for this Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, signs on the path of true love. That was fun. For March 2020 or timeless, please, my Ascended Masters, put it right in my hand. Thank you very much. If you are new to these cards, they are lovely. I adore them. There's not a lot written on them, though. One side of the card is the mantra. They're in English, don't worry. The other side, because mantras are usually in like Latin or Sanskrit or something. Cuneiform. The other side is the name of the mantra, so I can look it up in the book, and believe me, what's written on the, even though I'm going to read out of a book, which is a little passé for a tarot reading on YouTube, it's so good, and I can't memorize all that, considering I only got the deck in December. Ready? Your healing mantra, soothing impatience. Holy crap. What a wonderful card for a Gemini in Mercury retrograde. But I don't think you're going to like the mantra, but it feels like it'll work. There's nothing to do but wait. There's nothing to do but wait. Now, to me, if there's nothing to do but wait, W-A-I-T, that can drop a bit of psychic weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, because they're connected, right? How much psychic weight are you carrying that's making you wait for shit to happen? Because you can't build up the inertia, the movement, right, to move forward. You're mutable air. If there's nothing to do but wait, then that means your decision can really be more about the internal stuff. Loving what rises, more internal work. Again, with your destiny comes through withdrawal and healing. Right? Totally makes sense. You may not have to make this decision right now, but it feels like the potential of power and the neediness, there's a bit of a rub there. So let me read you what's in. I find this little bookie book to like really cinch the reading, like sew it together and cinch it tight. Soothing impatience. There's nothing to do but wait. When impatience is soothed, each perceivable barrier becomes an opportunity to be more aligned with your soul by slowing down. In the soothing of impatience, you no longer see moments of pause or delay as conspiring against you. Instead, you realize they are giving you the time for inner reflection, where life's deepest meaning can be uncovered even in the most ordinary of circumstances. Come on, we've got Hecate in the underworld, right? Talk about the deepest meaning can be uncovered even in the most ordinary of circumstances. This mantra is ideal for becoming more grounded, not a bad idea for a Mercury retrograde Gemini, easing frustrations, Mercury retrograde, and releasing blame, like a planet that's only appearing to go backwards, but doesn't really, right? The easing blame, sort of releasing that off, and also blame of yourself, right? If everything is part of the divine plan, the quantum field, scheduled to happen, infinite varieties of probabilities in the quantum field, then we are where we are, and we're doing the best that we can, and we can't speed it up, we can't slow it down, we can't get it wrong. The divine plan, the quantum field, is self-correcting. And just when we think something horrible has happened, as a result, something wonderful happens because of the horrible, and then usually the reverse. Out of something wonderful comes something horrible. And so goes the evolution of the soul in human bodies throughout time, right? Play your role. There is freedom coming to you. Don't forget that, but you gotta work towards it in terms of balancing your fire and your water, your desire and your emotions, because too much water puts out the fire, too much fire evaporates the water. So finding that balance for yourself, and I can see that. You've got this element of fire, that volcano in the past. You know what? Let's do the overview. That we'll be able to see much more that way. Ready? Nice deep breath. Magic clap. because you start off here with the Prince archetype, the shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement, right? Making yourself larger than you actually are, essentially using your power to lie in some way, maybe visually, right? The light attribute, what you're shooting for, romantic charm and potential for power. And I do feel for some of you, particularly if you're cross-watchers, that this is who you're dealing with, right? That not all of you might have that. Remember, it is a divine masculine archetype, but you don't have to be a man only, right? Not only men have the Prince archetype. Women have it too, but you got to feel that one out. And then there's that card of the neediness, right? That Chuck Spezzano card, the Love Pack card from the Ascended Masters, saying that there is some attachment here. There's some deficit. Someone has been clingy as a result of being either neglected or just not giving themselves. They neglect to give themselves that which only they can give themselves. And here we see for you, where you are, the Gemini collective here, the Aquarian card, right? That kind of rising above it all, seeing it from perhaps a more rebellious point of view, ingenious, innovative, breakthrough point of view, but that is emerging. And that does make sense, just now reflexing over to the Ten of Blades in your future position, what's before you on the path with romance. More information is going to be emerging, but it feels like it's emerging from you pulling back. And we see that pulling back in the 9th position of withdrawal, but withdrawal emotionally. Not necessarily becoming unemotional, which the Aquarian card can certainly indicate that, but for healing, for emotional healing. And as a result of that, more information emerges about this life-changing decision, the Lover's card of manifestation. Now I'm going to say, with the romance card right next to it, this probably is a romantic life-changing decision. Do you stay or do you go? Your life is going to change one way or another. Yes, you can put it off. You can slow down. That is indicated with this soothing impatience. If you've got one foot on the gas, jamming to move forward. But emotionally, there's some healing that needs to go on. Then there's nothing to do but wait, withdraw, and do the healing. Because here in your 3rd position, you've got this 2 of Cups, this emotional attraction, and I'm sure the signs are everywhere triggering you like crazy. Songs on the radio, seeing things that reminds you of this Prince archetype, if you are not the Prince archetype yourself, or the situation isn't, right? So the signs are everywhere. Chances are you are meant to be together. Chances are you're going to be freed, but as a result of your own discipline and your own healing. But appreciate this moment. This is because really, I feel like the healing is way more important than however this relationship plays itself out. If you are with somebody, all right, let me just pop up to the 5th position. That's why I love the overview once all the cards are on the table. If the trickster is you, because you're going back and forth between 2 people, even if you're not literally with the other person, but there's someone that you really are desperately emotionally attracted to romantically, but you're in something that has sort of, how do we say kindly, outlived its expiration date, so to speak. Its buy-on date has completely passed. And how you and just know that even though that it's tricky, it's a lesson you are learning, it is supported by the divine. So it's hard to think that, you know, if you're sneaking around, that's supported by the divine. And yet, the path of true love, I hate to say it, all's fair in love and war, and it's all part of the divine plan. But maybe that's part of this Scorpio forgiveness too. By the way, keeping in mind, this makes more sense now. Your behind card, the abundance with Pele the volcano, 5 of flames there. We really are looking at an explosion of passion here. I have a feeling that in your past, some of you really were with together or really sexually attracted to somebody, and there was such a wealth of passion and power, which I know changes the meaning of abundance there a bit, but there's definitely a sexual creative energy force going on there. I don't feel it's all about anger and rage. Definitely there was an explosion, but now you're more at a distance. looking at this mentally with that Aquarian card. So hopefully you'll be able to see the trick that the divine is playing here. Maybe you are in a trap. Maybe you are trapped. Maybe you've been chasing your own tail, and this is to get you out of your loop and maybe into the Ten of Blades of the romance here, this resolution of really seeing it for what it is, all the pieces of the puzzle on the table, that there is definitely then leading to that need of deep forgiveness. And if that's the case, forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of everybody else. This is not just one being being forgiven. That was hard to say. One being, comma, being forgiven. Because it is holographic. It's probably everyone involved here. And then that really does clarify that 8th card from the outside looking in, that people see you as someone who is listening to their passion, listening to their mutable fire. You know, in this card, the Crone of Flames, the Sagittarius card is Kiridwen, or Kiridiwen. I've heard it said so many times. But the goddess of the cauldron and transformation. So listening to that fire, that desire, calling you forward. And it's not just calling you forward, I feel like it's calling you inward to your own emotional healing, right? There are a bunch of cups standing up, but there are a bunch of cups knocked down in this card. So there's some emotional healing that needs to be done here. Your highest destiny is best served doing that. That's where you are. Pull in, pull back. Scorpio card, forgiveness, go underground, go into the underworld, heal, because that leads you to a freedom through temperance, the balancing of your fire and water, the discipline that it takes to heal, to balance. But keep in mind, it is a major arcana card. Ask spirit, ask the divine, call to your gods, your angels for help with all of that, because the higher self alone is saying appreciate, not only alone, but is really saying appreciate this moment. Each and every situation has an opportunity to grow and find love, that you are going to learn something here that you will be able to travel forward with. The thing about temperance is it often develops a skill, a strength. A weakness has been strengthened. Tempered steel is practically unbreakable. Tempered glass is essentially like bulletproof glass. I don't know if it's exactly the same thing, but that's the idea of having tempered. Oh, hold on one. Kitty, what are you doing? What are you scratching up there? Go on. Go on. Just making trouble. Go on, Belzy, I'm working. Okay. It's okay. The mantra here with that, appreciate this present moment, every opportunity, every situation has an opportunity to grow and find love. Then for the impatience, which I see in that Volcano card, which I see in the Trickster card, which I see in the Sagittarius card here, the mantra, there's nothing to do but wait, particularly as you're going within to heal. And maybe that's something you can say to people who are demanding that you manifest this decision here. Now, I'm sorry, I need to take my time. There's nothing to do but wait. Which, by the way, would explain that neediness card, right? That the neediness and the impatience, it does make sense, right? There's nothing to do but wait, honey. And if you can't give it to yourself, then you're going to have to wait and do the inner work until it comes. Cool, cool. That's a heavy-duty reading, but would make sense with this retrograde still. Even once it goes direct, go inside, do your healing. But the retrograde is really serving you now if you're seeing things from a higher perspective, right? Retrograde, pull back. Thank you so much for watching. May the Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love be blessed with all that they need to heal, to grow, to learn on the path of true love, to become the best that they can be, to remove some of the excess marble through forgiveness, through healing, so they can make the most lovingly wise, powerful decision they could be as the pieces of the romantic puzzle hit the table, dissolving need by soothing impatience, following the signs of this emotional heart bond attraction, whatever this may be, the trick being supported by the divine with potential for power and romantic charm for the well-being of all, bringing them to freedom through discipline. So mote it be. And so it is. A very long blessing. Wordy, but good for a Gemini. I love you all so much. And again, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and by all means, please comment in the description box below, because I could see this playing out in 10 different ways if I sat and I really looked at it long enough. I want to hear what some of those ways are for some of you. If you can share your Geminis, communicators, third house, self-expression, please do. But for now, wishing you, as I always do, as I sign off, and I mean it, hail, Farewell, and blessed, blessed be.